Oh well, this is piss under the bridge now. Why do you pieces of shit have to kill the poor, mentally ill creature on Destiny? Just like your venerated piece of shit 402 Thunder 402. Who takes pleasure in killing those poor mentally ill creatures on Destiny during those raids and nightfall strikes. Those creatures are mentally ill just like me. I stand for what those poor mentally ill creatures stand for. Check out my Dusty Female Cat YouTube channel to see how I'm no different than those poor mentally ill creatures. And the Guardians on Destiny. Why Repairman Jack books can never be written again. I'm not talking literally Repairman Jack books. I'm just talking about the whole genre of a type of character who lives anonymously in a big city with a fake identity and gets hired on by people to solve problems where he has to perform vigilante-type tactics. I'm going to bring some example of plot devices that can't work because of too many surveillance cameras now that worked in the recent past, when there were no surveillance cameras. I will not summarize the plots of the books I'm talking about, because that will make the video way too damn long. So, Repairman Jack started solving people's problems with criminals as a teenager. Someone kept tearing up an old man's front lawn and his garden by skidding their car over it at night. The old man kept repairing his garden, but the bully would keep destroying it with his car. No way to know who it is or which night they will strike on. Jack solved the problem by working with the guy to plant some hedges. Then he got pipes, filled them with concrete, and installed them vertically inside the hedges. Next time a bully decided to ram his car through the hedges, he hit the concealed stanchions and flipped over. That taught him a lesson. This was in the 1980s. Now the problem would be solved with the installation of a simple security camera to record the car and the license plate or deter the bully from striking again. Repairman Jack and his clever and much more fun trap would not be needed. Let's fast forward to The Tomb, which was originally created in 1984, but the sliding timescale places the story into 2009. Unlike in 1984 or even 2004, in the present year in which you are watching this video, a monster like the Rakosh would be caught on multiple surveillance cameras around the city as it fed on the homeless. It wouldn't be long before the whole world is wondering what the fuck they're looking at. Certainly the hospital would have had some surveillance cameras to see what happened when the Rakosh kidnapped and killed the mugger. After Aunt Nellie was kidnapped by a Rakosh, Jack's girlfriend would have most certainly installed surveillance cameras around the house that would have caught the Rakosh on video if it came around again. Jack wouldn't have been able to sneak onto Kusum Bhakti's boat to see the Rakoshi because Kusum would have had security cameras installed there to keep an eye on things. Yes, a bad guy would use them to protect himself as much as the good guys. So technically there would be no plot, no adventure, and the mystery would be resolved pretty quickly, and not at all in the way it unfolded in the book. The resultant story would probably be very lackluster, where Jack would not be the hero and instead
police and Homeland Security would be heroes. How boring. Jack couldn't even ride a city cab anonymously, since cabs have cameras that record the passengers. In Legacies, which represents the world as it was in 1998, although the sliding time scale also puts that book in 2009. Alicia Clayton could have easily documented the people following her with her smartphone camera and showed the videos to the police and posted them on social media to shame these individuals. Nor would those people have been able to kidnap her off the street without surveillance cameras watching. Even if they did, and Jack came to her rescue, beating up the bad guys in the middle of the street, bystanders with smartphones would have recorded video of that, ruining Jack's anonymity and forcing him to flee and stop doing the work he is doing. The toys donated to children with AIDS that were stolen would most likely have been easily found by the police thanks to surveillance video, leaving Jack completely out of the need to fix the problem. Even if video was of no help and Jack caught up to the bad guy himself, he most certainly wouldn't have tied him up to the front of a truck and terrorized him in revenge by speeding through the city, as that stunt would have been caught on multiple cameras and drawn way too much attention to him. Putting the corpses of the bad guys in a van at the end of the book, driving it to a truck stop and leaving the van there while dining at the restaurant and waiting for his friend to pick him up would not have been an option for Jack. Surveillance cameras would have picked up him abandoning the van, and a grainy shot of his face somebody would have recognized would be published. In Conspiracies, if Jack picked a lock into a hotel room where a woman was killed and discovered her body, him entering in there would be recorded by cameras covering the hallway. He would be a suspect even though he is not the killer, but because he entered a crime scene by breaking in to investigate and then left without reporting the discovery, it would be very suspicious and police would hunt him down as a person of interest. Nor would Jack have been able to defend a subway train against a mass shooter in Hosts, as someone would have taken out a cell phone camera and sneaked a recording of his face. He would then be unable to remain as an anonymous hero after running away. You see, he doesn't have any legit documents, he carries unregistered firearms, he doesn't pay taxes, and an arrest or exposure would destroy his life. He has made enemies that would love a piece of him, very dangerous people. He can't just be getting frivolously recorded by security and cell phone cameras. I don't even need to go into how much that reporter in Hosts would have been able to destroy his anonymity with current technology of smartphones and pinhole cameras. Look here, a conversation about an incriminating audio tape. This book was written in 2004, but the sliding timescale puts it into 2010. If so, she should have used her smartphone instead to record an entire video of the interview and then upload it on Twitter and YouTube right away. The bad guy's remark in such a case would make no sense then. "Well, you know this, I made a copy of that tape," she said. The bad guy says, "Oh, and when and where would you have made such a copy? And where did you stash it? In a safety deposit box? Not at that hour. In your desk? No. In your purse? No. In your apartment? No. That's because they had searched all these places." While in 2004 his remark makes sense, projecting this into 2010 or into the present, it doesn't. If she used a smartphone, there's a million things she could have done to copy a recording so it can never be erased and would be seen by the whole world. Thus the whole plot would have been derailed. As you can see, there is really no fun plot or story that you can write anymore, because CCTV and cell phones are everywhere. I don't know what the hell to keep writing about in this decade. The world is so boring and sterile because of this technology that the only thing left to write about is rebelling against the Orwellian state. But no one except me wants to touch the subject. People don't want to incite hatred for their beloved security systems, or incite Black Lives Matter type riots where hoodlums run around, destroying every camera they see, reaching for surveillance cameras with long poles to knock them down. Let's say if you took those tree trimmers mounted on long poles that gardeners use to cut branches that are high out of reach, and used those to snip wires running to the surveillance cameras that are mounted on private property. I don't know what to write. Writers can't keep ignoring the plot-destroying elephant in the room that are surveillance cameras forever. Repairman Jack books seized onto the last days of privacy by being published when they were, that final decade where you could still enjoy not being under mass surveillance. The books could not have been written too soon. No one else will be able to write such stories from now on. Not if they're set in United States, in a city like New York, or any big city really. I guess stories like this could still be set in the past, but that seems stupid to do, unless you use it to point out the difference between a mass surveillance world and one that is not, so as to teach people and open their eyes so that people will come to miss the privacy era and rebel against surveillance cameras. So how does one write a fantasy novel about an urban mercenary that involves supernatural elements in the present year and takes place in New York City? Surveillance cameras have now destroyed imagination, culture, and entertainment, along with your privacy.